6, a helping hand with your land.
Neil from Essex here to show you some of the changes that Kubota is making to the BX series. The Dash 1 of these models, kind of the first reiteration of the BX80 series. Now this is a model that's a particular interest to a lot of you viewers. There's a huge volume of these things sold, so while I don't have a lot to show you today, I'm sure some of these things are of interest to more than one of you. You're going to notice that this machine right here is equipped with the new R14 tires. This becomes a factory option now in the BX series. We've been ordering these into our parts department for those of you that like these and would like to swap out the tires on your existing tractor for a set of R14s. Now these are going to be a little tough to come by on new tractors coming into the lot. From what I understand, the demand for this tire continues to way outstrip what's been available here from the factories at this point. So most of what's sitting on our lot is still equipped with R4s, but R14s now are an option from the factory for the machines that are arriving here. I've explained before in this new R14 tire that I feel like there's a lot of selling features for this tire in that it's tractive but can also be friendly on turf, but we lack a certain amount of field knowledge and experience from these tires. I think it's also important to point out that one R14 is not necessarily like another. As you go up into, say, the B series tractors, the LX, and even some of the M series machines where you can get R14 tread patterns, the depth in some of these treads looks a little bit different. So while the pattern's the same, I expect them to perform a little bit differently on turf from one to the next. I think that's probably a little bit of a design choice that's made on these smaller tires, that as you get down, the depth of some of this cleating is being reduced compared to, say, the M series version of this same tire, reflecting the likelihood that this tractor is going to end up on turf. So I haven't had the chance to go and spin one of these around in the grass a whole lot yet, but I'm guessing this is going to fit a lot of the needs that people tend to want for a tractive tire that's still turf friendly. The Grille Guards on the BXs are getting iterated here as well, coming out with a new version here that's a little bit more stout than the old one. The Grille Guards are one of those things that I think you can take a couple different perspectives to, depending on exactly how you're going to use your tractor. We complained about the little one on the older BX series, the model that this is kind of replacing, because its part across the middle here was a little bit of a tin feeling to it, and it also didn't lock very well back into the Grille Guard. It swung out to allow this hood to open, but wasn't very secure when it was closed. This definitely has a much more stout feel to it. The steel is much thicker. It gets a much more positive lock when you close it back in again. But I'm guessing there are a couple of you that are probably going to look at this and say, for grapple purposes, this does leave a lot of the inside of the tractor exposed here. When I go look at trade-in tractors and stuff for machines that have grapples on them, nearly every one of them, regardless of how the Grille Guard's designed, is going to have a stick hole back into the grill somewhere where somebody managed to get a stick up into the back end, the soft parts of the machine. So regardless of how these Grille Guards are designed, if you're going to be looking at one of these tractors for, say, light forestry work, if you're taking a subcompact there, be very careful. Looking for something to fill in these gaps would be a good idea. There's a lot of aftermarket options out there. I'd be interested in offering something like that. So I feel like this is an improvement over the prior Grille Guard because it is stout. It gives us some of those options, and it feels better than the old one does, even though it is a little bit more open here through the middle. Curiously enough, half the tractors that are arriving onto our lot here lately have been coming through with gray ones, which I like the look of. There's also some orange ones here that seem to be painted a little bit differently too, which is kind of a funny quirk that's been happening here lately, but I prefer the look of the gray one myself. Another change here that happened would be the knobs that are being used on all of the levers the entire way around the tractor. You still maintain the industry standard color coding of yellow for PTOs, orange for movement, and gray for some of the other functions. But the supplier of these is clearly a different company now. They have a nice textured finish to them. The lever here for the loader is a little bit larger than what it has been in the past. It's pretty comfortable in your hand. One thing I think we're going to see an improvement of these is how they weather. The finish on these isn't quite as soft as what the old ones were, and we'd see these machines, the ones that were stored outside, starting to get pretty dirty and cruddy looking after a little while. Looking at this one here, I suspect this finish is going to weather a little bit better than what the older one did. This 23S here is the very first of the new Dash 1 series that we've been receiving, and the seat on this tractor remains the same as the one that's been used in the prior models. However, down in the other tractors lower in the product line, improvements are being made to their seats, and that's something that I'm happy to see. We would usually be a little critical of Kubota about the amount of money that they spend on seats and comfort type features, so seeing improvements in that regard is something that's very welcome to us. So that sums up what's happened this year on the tractor side of the house, but that doesn't mean that's all that's been happening with these machines. Kubota's Lamb Pride division continues to come out with new things, implements that are tailored to this size tractor, and there's two things that I'm particularly excited about. One is a small 4-in-1 bucket that's made for a small tractor like this. We did a video showing all the different functions that a 4-in-1 can do here a little while ago. You can search back if you're curious about the different flexibility that a 4-in-1 bucket can give you. The cool thing though is they have a lightweight one that's specifically made for small tractors like this, so that can really open up and give you a lot of flexibility that you could do with that front loader with one attachment staying out there on the end. So that's cool. Lightweight 4-in-1s coming from Lamb Pride, specifically made for subcompacts. Another cool thing is a new weight box. We have sold a 2180, I know is the part number, weight box for the back of these tractors for a long time. And as the industry has started more widely adopting quick couplers on the back of your 3-point hitch, that weight box was never compatible with the quick coupler, which was a little silly. We could sell you quick couplers for your mowers and your tillers and all of your other implements, but if you want to put your weight box on, you can't do it. You got to pull the quick coupler off. Well, that's changing now. So coming out through the Lamb Pride division is a model number WB10 weight box that's going to be quick coupler compatible and made for these small tractors. So got 50 of those on the way right now. It's going to be a really popular option on these machines, being able to swap that back and forth really easily. So glad to see more coming in that regard. So if you look at tractors like this, realize these things aren't made in model years. There's no such thing as a 2021 or a 2022, but periodically we do see these things happen. Say in the middle of the year this is happening. These are just starting to ship out here in April, where you're going to get iterative changes and that kind of stuff to these products, and that tends to be how these companies work. These changes come out in small iterations at random times throughout a product's life cycle and not necessarily on the model years. So don't think you're looking for a 2020 or a 2021 in order to differentiate between some of these differences. It's going to be a Dash 1 in the model number on the side of the tag that's printed on the side of the tractor. So if you're shopping for a machine and we can help, or if you have parts or service needs for a machine you've already got, give us a call at Messick's. We're available at 800-222-3373 or online at Messick's.com. Most highly hold on, okay. No. The Grille Guard on the new BX series is getting a it's not really new.